Hello friends, Namaste. Today we are going to talk about Sun, Surya. So in the last video I started with Moon and now I thought of continuing this video series by talking with another important graha. Apparently Sun and the Moon, the both luminaries, the two luminaries are considered the most important planets or the most important grahas as per Vedic astrology. Today we talk about the Sun. I'll try to keep it simple, bring in new elements into what we share. So some of the things may already be known to you, but we'll try and make it interesting. We'll try and bring in some stories. Sun is the significator of the soul. There are various names sort of given to Sun as per our Vedic text. He's the king of the sky. He's the creator, or rather causer of four seasons. He's the soul of all. Scientifically, if there is no sun, there will be no light, there will be no life. So sun is the originator, sun is the creator, so it is the creation of everything. And that is why we have various deities associated to all the planets. So from sun to Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, so on. So we have a deity associated to each of the planet or graha. The deities which are associated to Surya, which is the only graha, are the Trinity. It is Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva who are associated to Surya. So that itself makes it so impactful, so powerful. There's also a feminine deity which is associated to Surya, that is Gayatri. And this is the reason that the Gayatri Mahamantra is sort of associated very closely to the sun. It is a mantra for creation. It is a mantra for rejuvenating the soul. And that is why it is essential that we chant this mantra each day morning. So it goes like Om Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So this is how the Gayatri mantra goes, and it's advisable that we sort of chant it every day to strengthen our natal sun in the chart regardless of its placement. Sun is also considered as the natural or Chara Atmakaraka. Atmakaraka being the significator of the soul. It is associated to, it is the lord of the day, it is associated to being a leader, it is related to government. Sun is also the natural fifth lord because it rules the sign of Leo, which is the natural fifth house in the Kalpurusha chart. Now, one of the interesting aspects that I'd like to bring in here, which is sort of closely linked to creation, is that the fifth house is the house of creation because it's the house of children and the future. So it is the house of creation. And Surya being given this lordship of Leo, which is the natural fifth house in the Kalpurusha chart, itself is a significance that it is very closely related to creation. Now coming sort of talking a little more about Sun. So as per the Vedic text, Sun is considered to be the son of sage Kashyap, and sage Kashyap in turn is the son of sage Marichi. Marichi is the mind-born son of Brahma, and that is one of the reasons why this divine father principle sort of comes in place, because the ultimate father is the divine father, and that is one of the reasons why Sun is, or Surya is closely related to being the significator of father. There are other reasons as well, which sort of I'll share shortly, why Sun is known as the father. Now, out of all the grahas, all the planets, Sun is the only one who sort of emits its own light, who has its own light. However, the other grahas or planets are dependent on Sun's light. So that itself is a significator of Sun being the leader, Sun being self-reliant, and it is said that people who have prominent Sun or Surya in the chart, very strongly placed, they're self-reliant. They are not a part of the herd mentality, but they lead from the front, and that's what they rather do. Now, Sun shares a relationship with each grahas as well. it is friends with some grahas, it is neutral, and it is enemy as well to some of the grahas. Um, now talking about its relationship, you know, Sun shares a friendly relation with Jupiter, Mars, and Moon. Whereas, as per some texts, it is neutral with Venus. Some consider Venus as its enemy, but I have a scientific relevance as well that why Sun could be neutral to Venus rather than being an enemy. And it shares enmity with Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. Okay, okay. So let's talk about Mercury. Why this dear friend relation is there? Because Mercury is the closest to the Sun, and it is the least. It's very used to the heat of the sun, the rays of the sun. It's very comfortable all throughout there as well. And there is a phenomena which we call as combustion. So any graha which comes sort of close contact to the sun, not literally close contact, but from the earth, it appears to be sort of closer to the sun, or rather sun sort of blocks its path, which sort of hinders the rays of the graha to probably reach or probably come in contact with the earth. So that's a phenomenon of combustion. There are a lot of myths around it as well. But yeah, maybe combustion is a very deep topic. We'll keep it for some other time. But Mercury is the one who is least impacted by this combustion because it's always close to the sun and it is used to it. Okay, and it is not impacted as it may impact some of the other grahas because sun is the natural Naisargika Bali Graha. It is the strongest of all grahas. It is the king. It is sort of the controller of all grahas, right? It is the dominating force. So, with that matter, if it comes in close contact with another graha, it leads to combustion. It sort of the other grahas lose all its natural significance and its power. But then over 50% of the cases this combustion gets cancelled as well, right? The conjunction can sort of be act in a very strong manner, which we'll talk about in the next few minutes. But here, that's how Mercury and Sun share a relationship. Now, Mercury's intellect. Intellect is some way the controlling factor, or rather is responsible to control our mind, which is the moon. But it is the Sun who is soul, is supporting Mercury in order to sort of control this mind, and that's how all of this plays out together. And that is why when there is a Mercury and Sun conjunction in the chart, we call it a Buddha Aditya Yoga, because this makes it a very sharp and a strong and a learned mind, because in a great way it is having an impact on the moon, on the mind itself and the intellect, which clubs with the supreme force of creation. And such people are learned, naturally learned. But then, of course, it depends on which house this conjunction is happening, or is their lordship, and all the other factors should be considered while assessing the results of the graha. Let's talk about Venus and Sun relationship. So, Sun is the brightest of them all. Of course, we see it all through the day. Out of all the other grahas, the next graha, which is brighter than the others, is Venus, Shukra, and that's why if you see in the night sky, Venus is usually visible. So this means that Sun is the one who is perhaps letting Venus shine brighter than the others. If Sun is letting Venus shine brighter than the others, then I think from a scientific point of view and a logic point of view, it is hard to say that Sun shares enmity with Venus. So I'll probably, for this reason, consider Sun to be neutral towards Venus. Now, Sun is the graha who combusts other grahas. However, it can get eclipsed. The Sun get eclipsed by Rahu, who is another Naisargik Bali graha. And about, of course, about the lunar nodes Rahu and Ketu, we'll keep the topic for a separate time, because it's of course quite deep and vast. But then Sun cannot eclipse Rahu and Ketu because they are shadow planets and shadow grahas. Sun rules the sign of Leo, right? It is Mool Trikona till about from 0 till 20 degrees of Leo, which is like an office. Post that from 21 to 30 degrees, it is its own sign. Leo is considered its own sign. Sun gets exalted in the sign of Aries. Its deepest exaltation point is 10 degrees. So that means from 0 to 10 degrees, it's sort of in a very happy state and an exalted state. It gets debilitated in the sign of Libra, and debilitation is again up to 10 degrees of the sign of Libra, right? So Aries is the natural east direction in the Kalpurusha charts. Libra is the natural west direction in the Kalpurusha chart. Sun rises from the east, sun sets in the west. That is one of the reasons. Sun is the Karaka for the soul. Sun is the Karaka for the natural first house. Ashwini Nakshatra is the first nakshatra of them all, where Sun gets exalted from 0 to 10 degrees, and it is generally very strong till about 0 to 15 degrees in the sign of Aries. So these are of course more reasons for why this is a very comfortable position for the Sun, considering all the factors sort of put together. Sun, besides being the natural Karaka for the first house, is also one of the Karakas for the 9th house, and it is also one of the Karakas for the 10th house. Alright. Now 9th house is closely associated to Dharma. Alright. And Sun is again associated to Dharma because it is linked to the Trinity, right, to the Creator, to the Manifestor, to the Destroyer, to all of them. But then, Sun being the natural significator, as well as significator of the 9th house, is related to Dharma, is related to religion, and Dharma is the father of all, and that is also one of the reasons why Sun is the Karaka for father. And people with sort of prominent position or placements of Sun, of course, it's sort of closely linked to the father, so they're likely to have close relationship, association, or rather, such a native's father are sort of blessed after the birth of the child when they come into this world. Sun is also related to authority, monarchy, right, rulership, the ruling class, the royal kingdom. By nature, Sun is a Krura Graha, right? Why Krura? Because of its hot nature and hot temperament. But then this temperament, really doesn't last very long. It's a very short kind of temperament compared to, let's say Mars, which can sort of last a bit longer. But that's how Sun's temperament is. Sun is the one who is the most consistent, right? So it transits from one sign to the other in around the same time all throughout the year. Okay, so there may be a sort of a few hours here and there, but then generally transits around the same time during the year. So at present, in this time, Sun is in transit in the sign of Gemini, okay, which is the natural 3rd house of the Kalpurusha chart. Sun would every day have a set time when it will rise, a set time when it will set, so it is the most consistent. So one of the things which Sun demands or expects from us to help strengthen him is to bring consistency in our life and sort of trying to be consistent in whatever we do. And people with prominent Sun and strong Sun in the natal chart, Navamsha, Dashamsha, they're generally very consistent and firm and self-reliant in everything that they do in life. The maturity age of Sun is 22, and it is said that most prominent results related to Sun sort of are between the age of 23 to 41, and this is also sort of one of those ages when a person, if they get a Sun Mahadasha, which is a shorter period of time, if it falls around this time and the Sun is favorably placed, then about even the shorter period of Sun Mahadasha can be extremely beneficial and great for the native, and the benefits can sort of last for life. So this was the end of part 1 of this video, since I've decided to do this video in 2 parts considering its length. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it with your friends. I hope you like this video, and stay tuned for part 2. Thank you. Bye bye.